I'm with Sahil. What's up, Sahil? So you want to just tell me about yourself, like um, just like what you're doing right now and what you're up to.
Yeah, definitely. I'm Sahil. I went to UC Santa Barbara, but before, in between of that, I did a few tech startups, and then they didn't work out, so I went back to UCSB last year just to finish up my degree. And now I'm just working at not my own tech startup, but working at a startup itself. And then hopefully down the future, I can get back into my own stuff. But yeah,
Heck yeah, dude.
uh, yeah.
So you just said you're in college right now, right? You're just chilling there.
Yeah. I graduated last year, spring quarter. So I graduated right into the pandemic, which wasn't that fun, in terms of looking for work.
Yeah,
But I finally got something.
yeah.
But yeah, just working.
How's the life back in college? Is it like pretty laid back? Like what are you up to? What are you doing for fun?
Oh man, it's awesome because I don't know, you just get to relive that college experience of and like everyone's open to making friends. Is meet a lot of people
Yeah,
compared to after college. It's a different world.
yeah,
But yeah, it's awesome. Make you feel young again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like about your like entrepreneurship like journey, like how did you get into that? Like I know you were just talking about like those few startups that you started and
Yeah,
like you want to just talk about like how did you get into that and like
yeah.
why? Yeah.
I mean, like I've always been like had that mindset since I was like a kid. This like I have family from Thailand, so I used to go and bring back a bunch of stuff from they have like certain markets where you can get all sorts of electronics and clothing and all that stuff for super cheap. So I used to start off by doing all that stuff, like bringing it here to the US and selling it in high school and even elementary school. This the whole thing of this buying and selling Pokemon cards. So I was always dabbling with that. And then I think my very first startup that I did was online tutoring platform. There wasn't like there was a few options available at the time, but nothing that great. So I wanted to go into that. So that's kind of how I started getting into more of like tech entrepreneurship, and then this going after that. So
That's amazing. Like, is that like going back to college is that something that you study like related to your like did you study business? Like did you study like CS or like some type of engineering
I
for
majored in
your
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I majored in GIS, so Geographic Information Systems. I could have done business, although they don't really have business here at UC Santa Barbara. But my mindset was like, if I want to start a business, I should specialize in something so I have the knowledge I need to do a business. Because business is something you can learn, on your own, not in school.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
It's crazy. So like about that like e-learning startup, like how did that go? Like what did you learn from that?
I think like one of the most important things of like doing a startup, or like the hardest thing about doing a startup, is like putting the right team together. Um, it's hard finding like people that are committed or serious or whatever. Especially like when you have like a vision in your mind and you want to like kind of go, all 300% towards that goal. So kind of like building up a team is like probably the hardest part, and then obviously finding that product market fit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I definitely think the same. Like it's like finding the right people and it's like really hard.
yeah.
Like how are you able to find like the right people?
Honestly, you just have to just keep involving yourself in like different communities. Keep going to like meetup.com, right? That's a great way to meet people. My CTO and co-founder from my last startup, I met him in India at a Thai conference.
Oh dang.
Yeah, because he was doing a startup of his own at the time, so we got connected that way, right? And then like a few years down the line, his startup was done, and so he joined mine. So it kind of worked out that way.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy. You always like I feel like people just meet like their teammates at like the craziest times.
yeah,
Like it's just
exactly.
coincidence or something. That's
Yeah.
cool. Um, so like I guess like we talked about what drives you, right, as a kid.
Uh-huh.
But like now as an adult, like what drives you to like, like work for startups and like doing your own startup?
Yeah. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, it's just a mindset for me. Like that's how I always been in terms of like I'm the type of guy that'll sit there and just keep shooting out ideas like, oh, we could do something like this or something like that. And so I just get OCD just sitting there not doing anything about it. And so this is kind of like a mindset. It's like
Yeah,
people are either like that or they're not like that in terms of they want to go out and execute an idea.
that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, like I hear some people like they want to get into startup because like they want to get rich fast or like they want to like make money. Like
Yeah.
what is your opinion about that? Like
Um, in terms of, I mean, look, you can, there's so many ways to make money in terms of like setting up a small business or whatever. There's a million ways you can think of. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to like executing it, it's like, it's got to be something you enjoy doing and that you're actually like passionate about it. Obviously, there's like, you'll see random uncles that have like a consulting job, or whatever, body shopping business or whatever. They're
yeah,
making a lot of money out of that. I don't know if that's something that they're passionate about. Maybe they're passionate about business. Some people are passionate about making ideas happen that solve a certain problem, right? So,
yeah.
yeah,
So you got to really be like passionate about like the startup and the work you do
yeah, yeah,
first, and like yeah, makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah. Um, like what do you think like other people who want to be successful entrepreneurs, or what do you think they need to do? Like besides like being like super motivated, and I guess we
yeah.
talk about like finding the right people.
Hmm. I guess. Well, it depends like what type of startup that they're gonna do, right? Because
Yeah,
you need to come from that domain experience or had some sort of experience in that area,
yeah,
which allows you to understand what problem you're solving in that area, in that vertical. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the most important parts. And then the second part is just fucking doing it, right? Because
yeah,
it's like a roller coaster. Shit hits the fan. Shit's great.
yeah.
Um, and so like you just need to go through with it, and just learn fast, fail fast, and learn fast. And just keep iterating that way.
Yeah, that, I definitely agree. Like I remember like doing some projects and startups of mine where like I feel like I just took so long. Just like we
Yeah,
just spent so much time developing and we didn't even think about like the real business as a whole. Like how is this gonna work?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think there's like some people they get stuck in the rabbit hole. There's two things. Like one is like on one end you got to just keep focusing on executing whether shit goes wrong or shit goes good. But a lot of sometimes people get stuck in the rabbit hole of doing the startup idea or phase too long
Yeah.
when nothing that's actually happening, and they waste a lot of time when they could be, they could have started a new idea or figured out something else.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
so there needs
Crazy.
to be a balance in the two.
So much like time will be wasted just doing that, like not really, yeah,
Yeah,
focusing on a core business. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you think there's like luck involved? Like in terms of like success? Like let's say like, you're like the perfect entrepreneur and you got all these things right. Like
yeah,
you got the domain experience, the right people, you're a workaholic, etc.
yeah.
Is there like, yeah, do you think there's luck involved? Like
I mean,
with all this?
in terms of luck, yeah, I mean, maybe some people might have an upper hand. Maybe they might know someone, like their dad might have a lot of connections or whatever, um, or they may not have any of those resources. But at the end of the day, you're just gonna have to work your ass off regardless of
Yeah.
that, right? And this like you're gonna have to hustle, make connections, do what you need to do to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, time and place. There's always like luck that's involved here and there, but most of it just comes from just like hauling ass.
I
Right?
agree. I
Yeah,
agree. I feel like if you can work hard enough, like you make your own luck.
exactly, exactly. And sometimes if you don't have as many resources as the other guys, it's gonna have to work even harder, and figure it out. I mean, that's what makes a true entrepreneur, right? So
Yeah. So like besides your like e-learning startup, like what that was, I believe it was blockchain at the time. Was it like a blockchain e-learning?
first, it was just a regular online tutoring platform.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, that was the first startup that I did.
Yeah.
But then after that, that's when we started getting into the whole blockchain space, and seeing how we could use blockchain technology for the ed tech market
Yeah.
or for the education space.
Yeah. How did that go? Like that's like I mean blockchain right now is like super hype and I remember we
Yeah,
were talking about this like in
yeah,
2017. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. How did that like Like, how did that go? How did you get into blockchain? Like, you just went from e-learning and now you're in blockchain.
Yeah. So basically, we built this online tutoring platform, and I was sitting with my co-founder. His name is Akash, and we were trying to figure out, okay, I mean, what I know what we're building is fine and all, but we don't want to build just another regular online tutoring platform or some online learning platform. The goal was to figure out a way to kind of like make a difference in the education space. So we obviously like we came across blockchain at the time, and we read a lot of papers about like token economics and ways you can incentivize people for teaching and learning. And so we kind of evolved our platform to be like a knowledge exchange platform where anyone can learn and teach. But we created like a whole token economics around rewarding people to learn more and put that back towards more learning,
Okay,
right?
that's crazy.
Or people that teach, they can earn rewards to put back towards learning. Like this different concepts around that. So we created that, and also created a way just for like aggregating all your learning assessments and everything, and kind of like having these micro certifications that people can immediately verify without going to like third party organizations. So that's kind of like a long-winded answer, but yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you guys just created like a whole token economics for like e-learning, like where teachers get rewarded and like students
Yeah,
get like certificates. Yeah.
exactly. So we implemented that whole thing into our platform.
Wow. That's
So yeah,
crazy.
and then
Yeah.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, how did that go overall? Like, I remember you contacted me, like at the time I was
Yeah,
running blockchain at Davis, and I guess we try to use the tool here and there, but then like I guess
yeah,
our communication died off.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure you guys got probably like working with other universities. Like, how did
yeah,
that go? Like, I know your like target was mostly universities, right?
yeah. Well, so there was two sides to it. One side was we were running an initiative called Blockchain University, and the other was the actual tech product and service that we were building, which was 10x.
Hmm.
And then so like that Blockchain University, we had like the platform underneath that, the learning platform. Um, and so we just kind of, because like at the time, like blockchain was still relatively new, and you had to, in order to kind of have a voice in the space, you needed to be a leader in the space. So I thought, why not just kind of be a leader in terms of being the educators to educate people on blockchain, right? So we created all this like boot camps, teaching Solidity for developers, and like token economics and etc. to executives. So we were doing all sorts of these boot camps around, all over here. We did some in Europe. We did a lot in India, and so we just kept doing that, just running those boot camps. Meanwhile, just building out our tech platform. So yeah,
That's sick. And like, how are you managing like school and like all these this startup? Yeah.
just kept taking quarters off.
Oh, okay, okay, nice.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so
That's crazy. Like you're all the
yeah,
way in Europe, and so
yeah.
I'm guessing it's like remote, or like were you actually traveling?
I went to Bangalore. I went to India because we
Wow.
were doing some stuff with a company called New Reliance, or Geo.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were doing some stuff with them. We got in a program. We got an acquisition offer from them, not for Blockchain University, but for 10x,
Hmm.
the technology that we had. And then, but we turned it down because part of the deal was we had to move to India and
Hmm.
be there for like 4 years or so.
Yeah,
And we did not want to work underneath the person that gave the offer. So
yeah.
we thought, maybe we can keep trying to do it on our own. And then we won like second place in this huge like VC pitch competition in India.
Yeah.
Um, and part of the deal was that we were going to onboard 14 million students onto our blockchain network, where all the students, all the government schools, would
Mhm.
be using our API services and certification management system to like all the assessments, everything being like the degrees or certifications being out, that it would be done through our platform.
Sick.
And so like, all the metadata, everything that they ever learned, all the assessments, all that data in there, it was all verifiable. So that was kind of like the whole gist of what we were going to make happen. But those guys like were too slow. Uh, Dealing with government related and
Yeah.
funds or whatever, they just work too slow. So that we're sitting around waiting for that to happen. And just pushing the whole blockchain startup thing, especially during then, was harder because the conversation didn't become about what problem are you solving or all that. It just became about what is blockchain, why blockchain, because a lot of people just didn't understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I definitely agree. Like I think back then, even like when I was running blockchain day, it was just so new.
yeah,
Like people still couldn't like wrap their minds around it. They were still
yeah,
like even YouTube was fairly new, like about blockchain. There
yeah,
wasn't like many Solidity videos. There wasn't much like e-learning going around during blockchain for blockchain, especially like for Ethereum.
yeah,
And now we have like all these like now we have Cardano and like Solano and like all these other like developers and like developer workshops on YouTube. So
yeah,
it's pretty crazy. It's insane now. Like there's so much like information out there.
yeah. It's definitely evolved and come a long way compared to then.
Yeah.
That's why I look at the market now and I'm like, shit. I wish I didn't stop doing what I was doing because I think that this would have been a great time to come back in and get
Mhm.
things rolling again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. How did this end? Like it seems like those like everything was going well. You got an acquisition offer. You were
yeah.
working with like the government, and yeah, how did this come to an end? Or mm,
So like after that happened, we were running blockchain university. In the beginning, it was making a lot of money. Later on, we were making some, but then at the end of the day, it wasn't enough like margin to like because like there's a lot more cost going into it because we were running essentially two startups at the same time. Like
mhm,
one with the technology side to pay for like AWS costs or whatever. Like
yeah,
there's all these little costs happening, and at that point, I was just like, all right, well, maybe we should just shut it down for now. Maybe we can revisit it in the future when the time is right. But yeah, we decided to shut it down, and then I was like, I'll just go back to college and just finish up my undergrad degree. And yeah,
do you feel like you would have taken that acquisition offer?
yeah, 100%. I would have done that now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like since you guys shut it down, like do you ever think you're gonna start that again? Like or try to get it acquired, or what would your plan be if you did start it?
I would like to start it. I would start it if I can find the right people to get involved.
Mhm,
Um, Obviously, like my co-founder CTO, he was a fucking genius, like technically.
mhm,
um, this also had a very good sense in terms of business as well.
yeah.
But then he got married. He's older than us, so he got married and all that stuff. And
Oh
he's from
yeah.
India, so like he's all about like the family stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Very traditional Indian uncle
yeah,
now.
he has a kid now too. So um, I don't know if he's gonna still be able to do the startup stuff with me. But yeah, I think that's if I can find the right people, then I would be down.
Mhm. Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, he has a family.
Yeah,
But that's crazy experience. Like I think like you took that experience, and I think you're working at like Monte Carlo, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like how does that experience go into Monte Carlo?
Basically, like my mindset is like so after I graduated, into the pandemic and stuff, I still wanted to do. I didn't want to do my own startup because obviously that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, I can still join an early stage startup and it'll feel as if it's like my startup, right? So that's where I decided this I can join an early stage startup, and I joined when they had like 19 people now, and now they have like 72 people after a few months. So yeah, it's nice to be able to just jump in.
That's pretty insane. Like yeah, and like I don't know, I didn't read too much on Monte Carlo.
Yeah,
Could you explain like what do they do, and yeah,
yeah,
what does
yeah,
Monte Carlo do?
definitely. So basically, like we just help all these companies like DoorDash or Nike or Lululemon, any company dealing with tons of data, and they have like a lot of big like data organization within their teams. Basically, is just we just help companies understand whether or not the data itself that's like flowing through their various systems, like their data warehouse, their BI tools, their data lake, just making sure all of that is healthy and trustworthy. And we do it through the lens of something that we call data observability, right? And so it's like a machine learning or like machine learning first approach. So we detect any anomalies in the data pipelines before it goes through and then it messes up report for a data analyst, or it screws up a model for data scientists, and then they have to go back to the data engineers and say like, hey, the data is not right or something's broken and we need to fix it, right? And that costs companies millions of dollars. So we help them be proactive about it.
That's crazy. And I know you were talking about this like a small, this was a small startup, but like now it's huge, right? Like I just saw you guys got a Series C. You
Yeah,
guys like raised like $100 million,
yeah,
and like that happened in a pretty small amount of time.
yeah.
Like,
We raised our Series C in like 10 days.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
That's insane. Yeah. I definitely see this like pretty useful for like data engineers and scientists, like just the
yeah,
amount of time they spend trying to like clean data and like get the right
yeah,
data.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I see a lot of companies like this. I don't know. I think Snowflake, it's also like, I guess it's different, but
yeah.
kind of
We're
in the
actually
same
partners.
realm. Mhm.
Yeah, we work with Snowflake. So like Snowflake is an example of a data warehouse, right? So
Mhm.
that's where we work with companies that are using Snowflake, for example. That's one of the places where we have like a data collector or whatever, like checking for any anomalies in that itself. So yeah.
Like, what stage of this company did you start? Like, how early?
Uh, well, the company was like a year and a half in
Mhm.
before I joined, and there was only like 15 people or so,
Yeah.
15 people, and then I joined. I think I was like the 20th guy on the
Was
team.
that like Series A or?
I joined during series, I think series in between Series A and Series B.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's still fairly early. Yeah,
Mm.
that's good.
Yeah, yeah,
How'd you like the people there? Like, what is it like now? Like before, when it was just like 15 people,
yeah.
like, until now, it's like almost 100.
No, it's awesome. I mean, like our CEO, our CTO, like all the managers and everyone is like super, supportive and nice. And like we're always, even though we're all remote and we're in the pandemic, we all have like great communication over Zoom, and we always have like events and stuff like that. And once in a while, I think we did one a month or two ago. So it was nice to
Yeah.
like meet everybody for the first time, like in person.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, we had an open bar and everything. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was cool.
I feel like when you meet people in person, you realize like, oh wow, you're super tall, or like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
you're shorter than I thought, or
yeah, yeah, 100%.
yeah,
So yeah,
that's cool. Like, how do you? Yeah, since it's still like fairly small, like you're able to like talk to the CEO and like
yeah,
CTO. Like, how do your ideas flow like fairly well within the team? Like, if you have new ideas and stuff. Um,
yeah, 100%.
that's cool.
Yeah, like if you ever have like ideas for a project or whatever it may be, like everyone's super supportive about that over at Monte Carlo. So it's nice.
What's your current role like in Monte Carlo? Mhm.
Right now, I'm doing sales at Monte Carlo.
Oh, okay, nice, nice.
Yeah,
How's that going? Like, how's sales going?
it's going good. This is since we're like a category creator right now. I
Yeah.
mean, we're a startup. Obviously, there's a huge need for this in the market, but at the same time, is explaining to people,
Mhm.
why they need this and what this is.
Yeah.
So, because like data observability is
Mhm.
somewhat of a new term, but people are starting to like get engaged with it with us on like LinkedIn and all these other places. So yeah, it's catching on because now we're seeing a lot of other startups pop up in the similar space. So yeah, it's good to see that.
That's great. Yeah, like I think like even with the company I work with, like, we talk to like I have some friends who are like sales engineers and
Yeah,
stuff. And I think this is like a pretty nice career path for some people who are like thinking about, going into like product management because like they come from a technical background, like
yeah,
engineering or CS. But like
yeah,
what is like sales engineering? Like what exactly is that? Like from my understanding, I feel like it's like you're trying to sell something or get customers and then you do like
yeah,
technical demos and stuff. Like,
yeah.
what do you do? Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, well, there's a sales engineer, and then there's like the account executive,
Mhm.
right? Sales engineer, like when you want to go for the second or third call, when you want to do like a deep dive
Yeah.
demo, and you have this head of data engineer on the call. You don't want to be there stuck trying to answer some guy's super technical question, guy or girl. Um, and so that's why you need your sales engineer there for. But on the AE side, the job is just to pretty much this guy, make sure the whole sales process is moving fast, right? So like after you do like a first call with the prospect, you see if there's a fit or there's a need for something like this at their organization. And then once you figure that out, you want to figure out, okay, who's going to be your champion? Who's going to be the guy within that company that's going to kind of like vouch for you or kind of be the influencer to the other folks to buy this solution, right? And then you want to
Mhm.
figure out who the economic buyer is, the guy that's going to put down the money for your solution, and just making sure security and all this other processes is moving along and all the contracts are getting signed. So that's kind of like what the AE's job is to do. Um, yeah, just
I didn't
making
catch
sure.
that. What is AE?
Account executive.
Account executive. Okay, cool, cool. That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Um, and I guess like how like so you're in the startup right now,
yeah.
and you were working for I guess like a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
You started. How is it like? What is the work life like? Like, is it like pretty rigorous? Like from like when you first started to now? Like how has that changed?
Um, it's changed in the sense where like when I was doing my own startup, like there's a wider net in terms of things that I did versus being in a startup. For me, the way I think of, I'm CEO of my own role,
Mhm.
um, but it's more focused within that domain. But it's nice. I mean, doing a startup, like you're definitely like running around a lot more because you're trying to wear different hats. But I'm able to be a lot more focused within my domain. So that's the difference, I would say.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Yeah, that was another question I was gonna ask, but
Yeah.
just going back, like I meant I guess just like the work life within Monte Carlo. Like how
Oh,
does that change from like the beginning where when you first started at Monte
yeah.
Carlo to now? Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, so I was like the first person they hired within the sales, and so it was just kind of like figuring out how we're going to build up the pipeline within the company,
Mhm.
getting meetings and all this other stuff. So pipeline generation was the first thing that we needed to figure out, and there wasn't anyone there to tell me how to do it or what to
Yeah.
do. And so, but luckily it worked out. And so now we've just been expanding the team because it was kind of like more like an experiment, at least for like my role. Okay, like can if we hire this guy for this role, can he build up the pipeline generation? And if so, then we can expand, that whole team.
Oh,
Um,
dang.
so that's what we've been doing, and now we've learned a lot of like in terms of what works, what doesn't, for building up the pipeline.
Yeah. So like I'm guessing you have more people in sales now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
we've been hiring a lot of
And you
SDRs.
the interview guy?
No, 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 no. I'm not the interview guy. I'm so entry level, but yeah, yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, that's crazy because like you just started all this pipeline and then this kind of led to like more people being involved in sales.
yeah,
It's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Um, I guess that's like something that you've done like in like your blockchain e-learning startup, right? Like it's
yeah.
kind of similar, like you're like maintaining relationships, like
Mhm.
gaining sales and talking to different companies and doing workshops.
Yeah,
Um, do you feel like that's what kind of like I know gave you that like mindset now or like those skills, like you're transitioning those skills from that blockchain e-learning startup to like in Monte Carlo doing sales?
exactly. Yeah, because like it's like I joined it. It's like I would say it's just like me doing a startup. I can carry that over to this role, and I can just figure out. Like I said, I can be CEO of my own role. It's startup. It's like my own startup. I would say, right?
Mhm.
That's the mindset I have, and so I'll figure out creative ways to get those meetings or to get the pipeline going, right? So yeah, it carries over for sure.
That's great. Yeah, that's really great to hear.
Yeah.
Went through this like whole journey, like from doing your own like thing, and then deciding to like go into
Mhm.
uh this domain like now, which is like sales, and
Yeah.
just doing one thing like at the startup. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like what is your like I guess advice for people who are like I don't know trying to be entrepreneurs but like they don't have like I guess like that domain knowledge or they're still learning.
Yeah.
Like, do you think they should join a startup or like some small company so they can just like quickly learn and then like get out and do their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, like you can either just fucking do it and
Yeah.
you'll figure it out. I mean, I've heard stories of a lot of people that have never had any business experience, but they had a great concept or a great idea, and then they just fucking did it and figured it out. Um, or they failed and then they learned from that. So either you learn more or you're right. And or you could just join a startup and just learn from that.
Yeah.
And then make help, and you can make a lot of connections, right? Like I may make friends with the guys on the engineering team, and maybe like a few years down the line, I may want to start my own startup, and maybe they might want to be part of that, right? So you just got to do it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just do it. Yeah. Just get your hands dirty. Don't be
exactly.
afraid.
I mean, if you have to come and ask for startup advice, then that means that you're wasting your fucking time reading startup books or whatever, and asking, going to webinars or whatever the hell that is. It's like at the end of the day, you just got to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Um, that's the mindset I have.
I agree. Yeah. Like especially when like a lot of people are young, out of college, just do it. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's crazy.
take the risk.
How's I guess like I like being in college, like you're still like, hanging out with friends and stuff, and then you're
Yeah,
doing the startup. Like
yeah,
how's that going? Because like I know like being in college, it's like there's like I don't know, there's so many things going on, right? And
yeah,
then
yeah.
like you got work. Like how do you like manage that?
Well, like fortunately, like where I live, like in the daytime it's a party place, but uh, well, I guess once in a while, but pretty much my house is empty otherwise.
Okay.
So it's easy to focus. I get quiet over here. So that's never been an issue. But I do have a lot of friends here. So like,
Yeah.
uh, if I was living back at home, I would definitely be like spending a lot more time like after hours, like keep
Mhm.
on like building myself up and like doing extra work. So well, I'll do some work afterwards, but since I have so many friends here, it's sometimes kind of hard. But I try to make time once in a while, like afterwards,
Hey,
to
just
catch
enjoy
up.
it. Have
Yeah,
fun.
and I'm moving at the end of this month back to the Bay,
Mhm.
and then I'll move to San Diego afterwards. So then I'll be able to really focus.
Why San Diego?
Um, Everyone's moving down to San Diego. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just like I feel like in our 20s, like that's the time when you want to like, go live somewhere else, somewhere different.
Yeah.
So me, I want to live outside of the Bay for once. I want to
I
live on.
was That's a funny thing because I was in San Diego this summer.
Yeah,
I was there for my birthday week.
yeah,
And dude, it was very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's very clean.
yeah,
Um, I think yeah, me and my girlfriend, we had like probably the best time we ever had. Like it
yeah,
was in California, like the best time, like during a vacation. Like we went to LA before, we went out, in SF. I
yeah,
guess like the bigger cities in California, but San Diego was like probably our favorite.
yeah. It's nice. So yeah, that might be the move. So yeah,
Yeah,
or
he's
Austin,
gonna surf
Texas.
there.
What was that?
He's gonna surf out there in San Diego.
Definitely, definitely. I love like getting out there in the ocean. So it's nice.
Yeah, you said Texas, right? North
Yeah,
Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I
Hope
went there.
that's growing.
Oh yeah, I went there like 2 weekends ago. Like everything is brand new in terms of buildings, and like
Mhm.
stores are very like modern and cool. Very clean over there, and everyone's super friendly.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, so it's nice. It's definitely like everyone's moving out to Austin, Texas right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I think like even like the startups are right. Like I just
Yeah,
recently heard like AVC, which is like a firm, like they
yeah,
moved out there. I
yeah,
think Tesla, like that's a pretty big company. They're out there, like Oracle. You see all these like other companies
yeah.
they're building things over there.
Oh yeah, like I think like 10% of their population is like Californians right now.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy.
yeah,
What advice would you give like for I guess like entrepreneurs, like young entrepreneurs, um, that just like came out of college and they're like, they want to like start something. Um, I guess like in tech, like right, like they want to start something in tech. Like, what advice would you give them? like if they have to debate between like, you know, working full time at like a software company like
Yeah.
Fang, or like just
Uh,
jumping into a startup that they had in their back of their head.
I mean, if you have the voice in the back of your head saying like I really want to fucking do this, then just do it. But um, my advice would more so be if you kind of want if you feel like you want to do a startup, I would start with just working first, build up my experience, right? Go you know, like learn the stuff because you're gonna learn most of the important skills like when you're working on the job. So like do that. You're gonna make a lot of connections with other fellow engineers if you're a
Mhm.
CS major, for example.
Yeah.
And once you do that, let's just say you want to start a startup. You worked at Lyft, you worked at Google or whatever. You've built up a good foundation, and you have other colleagues that are willing to join you. You can go to any VC. They're more than happy to give you money
Mhm.
in that sense. And then you can go start your startup. And now
Yeah,
you understand, you have a lot more experience and knowledge compared to you just coming out of college and just jumping into straight into a startup.
I agree. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've seen it happen. It has worked with some people who just
Yeah.
come out of college, start a startup. And I think
Yeah.
even them, like, they have said, like, you know, it's kind of like it was a dumb move, but it like
Yeah.
they, you know, got lucky. They got the right people, and it just
Yeah.
worked out, right? And
Yeah.
that can happen.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, unless you're like Mark Zuckerberg or not Zuckerberg, but like if you're just a really fucking smart person and you have so much, yeah, you have a lot of skills. Let's
yeah.
say I know like some people that were like there's some guy that worked at a company called Segment, and he was like 13 or something at the time, and they hired him.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's like if you're on that level of genius, it depends on what type of startup you're doing, you know,
Yeah.
stuff. But
It's
yeah,
like, yeah, if it's like tech, like very technical, then I guess like get experience. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, unless you're a fucking genius,
I
you
know.
know,
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg. Okay.
or Vitalik or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I think I was on LinkedIn, and especially now like blockchain, it's like decentralized. Like, right, anybody can learn it. Anybody can like contribute to, you know, the network.
Yeah,
And there's like kids out there who are like 13, or like, you know, people in college that are able to like make their own D apps, or decentralized finance apps, and people are using it. Like one kid made um, a decentralized finance app, and I think he has like $1 million that is flowing in and out.
yeah,
Yeah, it's insane.
crazy. Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the whole crypto space right now, when you look at NFTs and you see like shit like Pancake Swap and all these various cryptos. Obviously, there's a lot of shit coins and all the bullshit projects going on, but you also see like the young generation,
Yeah.
like they're the ones that are creating all these things, and I think that's like the fucking future. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Like, I think there's so many kids out there like who are really smart, and they're just on their laptops. I mean, they've been probably coding since they're 10. Now they
yeah,
jump into blockchain, and
yeah,
they're live, because it's like,
yeah,
you know, it's so easy to go live like
yeah,
in the blockchain world versus like,
yeah.
you know, working with like AWS and like, you know, building like a whole product. You
Yeah.
know, you kind of have to like, you know, you can't be, I guess there's like some certain age limits, right? Like in terms of starting a startup and stuff like that. But like now you can be like 13 years old, like
Yeah.
creating your own app, right? Yeah.
It definitely opens up the net to everybody. Yeah, it's some awesome shit going down right now.
Yeah. All right, man. I think let's wrap it up here. But I thank you so much. And I think this is like great insight for like anybody who's like young, still in college or out of college or early in their career. Um, I think this is great advice for people who want to like, you know, do what you did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, take my advice. Don't take my advice. Take it with a grain of salt. Half the shit I say is that comes out of my mouth is bullshit. So, but yeah,
uh,
but
yeah.
yeah, just
Yeah.
fucking do it.
Dude, thanks. I'm gonna
Right.
stop the recording now.